And welcome everyone to the Yule-Log Fireside chat. We're going to play a little game that we're going to start off a little game that Ann actually suggested called Guess the Torso. And if you'd like to drop your answer into the chat, shouldn't be too difficult to guess the torso. And we're getting some answers. Haven't had one correct yet. Bunch of hellos. Yes, and we have a winner, and we can reveal our faces. Thank you all for playing. I don't think we really need an intro after that, but Ann, I was told that you really can't say how you doing anymore. You actually have to be more prescriptive in a pandemic and say, how's your day so far?
How's my day so far? My day so far is pretty fantastic because you took my suggestion to play Guess the Torso. I've wanted to play that throughout this pandemic. As you know, your entire team is on Zoom. It's just a good way to lighten things up a little bit. So thank you for taking that suggestion. I spent a long time decorating, as you can tell. So I could give you just a quick tour. I have a vintage, mid-century modern silver aluminum tree that came out of my mother-in-law's attic. So there's that. We have this beautiful fire. It took me a while to get this going today.
Don't burn yourself. Don't burn yourself.
Oh, it's warm. It's real warm. And then I also, just for inspiration, put these guys together. So I've got these two gals. These two, well, one Kringle boy and one Jingle girl. So we have these. This one's you, Jason.
Are they wearing little Devo hats?
That's your face.
That is brilliant. By the way, if you don't, I forgot my intro. I don't think Ann Handley needs an intro, but please welcome Ann Handley, the Chief Content Officer at Marketingprofs, best-selling author, the author, a friend of mine, my mentor, the reason why I do what I do today, the author of my all-time favorite book, The Bible of Content Marketing, Content Rules. How's that for the intro? Yeah? Now we're back on track.
That's good. Yeah, we got derailed for a while there. It's the whole Guess the Torso game. It just completely derails everything, but I guess that's the point of it, right? So, yeah.
All right. Well, Ann, thanks for the tour of the Christmas village behind you. I see we're all in our festive gear here, our ugly sweaters. Now, you mentioned, where did you find such a distinctive sweater?
Well, you know what? Thank you for that adjective. I think this is actually very distinctive. As I mentioned on Instagram yesterday, there's this snowman is made out of pearls, legit pearls. We've got some rubies down here in the corner, legit rubies. I took it to a jeweler and just had them evaluate it. So there's about 1,000 oysters gave their lives for this snowman right here. So you're welcome. Thank the oysters. So anyway, where did I get it? I got it at a secondhand shop.
A secondhand shop. So someone bought that, returned it, and then you bought it again. What a journey!
Yes, I know. I do think that this sweater has probably been around the block a few times. Oh, Matt Hines is here. Thank you. Yes, this is not a vegan sweater. So
Hi,
not
Matt.
A vegan Christmas sweater at all.
Matt contributed a fantastic cocktail to the holiday cookbook, which is released in its entirety today for the first time. It's 52 pages. I cannot believe this thing. Wow. This is a legit cookbook that's available to everyone on the webinar. So we have a packed agenda for you today. We're going to walk through a few things, but we're going to open up with a little fun thing where we roast marketing cliches over an open fire. And I've pulled together some of our favorite marketing cliches of the year, and just want to get your quick take on these. And I'm not saying that we know there's no playbook on pandemic marketing, right? And we shouldn't be judging others for trying to do well. But there are some things that just came up that we should probably roast. And I'll start with the big one, the one at the top of the list. You know I'm going with this. Unprecedented times.
Unprecedented times. Yeah. Unprecedented times. Definitely one that unprecedented times almost needs its own wiener really to roast. So this is the unprecedented times wiener, roasting it right here in my actual fireplace. Yeah, so I think here's the thing, right? Unprecedented times. It's true. We actually are living in unprecedented times. But yeah, Matt's totally on point. You know, we're all looking forward to having some precedented times again. And I think at the very beginning, we saw so many brands, you know, we are here for you in these unprecedented times. I got so many emails that had that exact language around it. And so while it's accurate, I also think that it's become to the point now where it's just a cliched way of talking about these extraordinary times that we're all in the midst of.
Yeah, there's a couple other fun ones. Not that we necessarily need to roast these, but just to bring these up is some of my favorite pandemic phrases. Zoom drinks is referred to as zoozing, as a new social habit. And let me use this in a sentence. Hey, shall we zooz on Friday evening and Monday and Tuesday? Have you heard this one, zoozing?
Should we zooz? No, I have not heard zoozing. Is that like is that a UK thing, or is that in the US as well?
I think it's everywhere.
Zoom. Oh, it's like Zoom and booze together, zoozing?
Yes, zoozing.
Oh, all right, got it. Yeah, no, I have not heard that. But you know, you're a drunk basically, so that's why you've probably heard it, right?
Zoom wardrobe. Also, I heard that on the BBC this morning, believe it or not. Zoom wardrobe. Zoom mullet. Believe it or not.
Yeah, Zoom mullet. We have an example of that, right? Well, Andre, first of all, sporting the actual mullet got going on here. But the Zoom mullet, right, is this where you've got, like, you know, business on the top and hot mess on the bottom. So.
Yeah. By the way, there was an article in the BBC also that the mullets are coming back across the university here in the UK, which I thought I'm fascinated by. I've been waiting for this forever because I want to go back to my 80s haircut. Another cliche we should probably roast over a fire. We're all in this together. Where are we at with that?
Yeah. Well, yeah, we all are in this together, sort of, right? But not exactly. I don't think everybody's experiencing quite the same way. Maybe it's dramatic for everybody and in some way, but I don't know. Just, yeah, I think it's time to just let that one go.
What about sort of a playoff of that? We're here for you.
Yeah.
Why suddenly now? Haven't you always been there for me? Like
right.
And then a few other fun ones. Quarantini, I think, was born out of the pandemic. This one, oh, sorry, I was on mute. No, you go. Can you see my screen? And we'll wrap it. We'll end this little session here on fidgetal working. This is a real thing. Fidgetal
with a PHY, right?
Fidgetal working. I had to search on this, but this is a real thing. This popped up right around the birth of the pandemic, and it's been sort of a trend. Or is it?
I hate that. I just have to say it. I hate it. I don't like that one at all. You know, there is one. Yeah, I don't like that. No, 100% don't like. There is one that I do really like though, and it happened with you know, like when so many of us have been, what's your word, zoozing, as we're Zoom partying, Zoom drinking, zoozing. There was a situation on where somebody turned on like a fun filter, like a fun Zoom filter, and then couldn't figure out how to turn it off. And so Rochelle Clegg shared this on Twitter of her boss basically turned herself into a potato for a happy hour. Can you see that right here?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yeah, it's really good. She turned herself into a potato and then couldn't figure out on Monday morning when she had a staff meeting how to turn it off. And so the best part about this is she tweeted about it, she posted about it on Twitter, and Microsoft actually picked it up, right? We're still laughing about this hashtag potato boss. It became a thing. And what I really love about it is that Rochelle in the original tweet didn't even tag Microsoft for potato boss because the meeting was on Microsoft Teams. And look at that. The social team is on it at Microsoft. So yeah, kind of fantastic. Look at that face too. That face just kills me.
That is brilliant. I love the fact that your slides aren't are in your hands and not on the screen. Analog. Is that what we call analog?
It's analog with two N's, which is another great word for a pandemic. So
Ann, with all that said, I mean, let's, the big question I think on everyone's minds is, what do you think is fundamentally going to change in light of what's happened this year?
Yeah, so I mean, there's a couple of things that I think has fundamentally changed, but the biggest thing I think is that for as much as we talk about, trust as being a cornerstone of marketing, I think that it's absolutely brought trust front and center for so many brands, for so many organizations. And I think this is true whether you're B2B or B2C or B2G or nonprofit, like any of it. There was a study that Edelman did mid-pandemic, so like say May, June timeframe, something like that, in which they talked about just the importance of how companies are showing up now and how that's going to influence whether we do business with them long term. So if you are one of those companies that's just been like, not just saying that you're there for your customers, but literally walking the walk of being there for your customers right now, trying to understand from an empathetic point of view, like where are you in the world, and how can we actually fit into the context of your lives? How can we show up for you in a meaningful way? Those brands are the ones that we will reward long term. And I fundamentally absolutely believe that I think that long term, those brands that are truly walking the walk are the ones that we're going to reward with our business long term. And again, this is like B2B or B2C. So that's the first thing. And I think, how does that express itself? I think it expresses itself in a number of ways. One of the ways I think is showing our faces, like turning that camera around, having our employees on video, having all of us on video, communicating in the most authentic way that we can right now in the absence of face-to-face is so critical. And I've seen that cascade throughout marketing, just how companies are putting their people front and center a whole lot more than they did previously. So I think that's a trend that we're going to see continuing on. And I've seen that like even in something simple like an email newsletter, right, where like the New York Times, for example, in June of this year, completely changed up how they are publishing their morning briefing, their morning email. And instead of having it come from the New York Times brand, instead it comes from a guy by the name of David Leonhardt. And every morning the email comes from David and it gives me the day's news. I'm sharing that because I think it's an extraordinary shift for a brand like the New York Times, which you don't think about as having like individuals within the brand. Like mostly the New York Times is just like a brand. And so I think the relevancy for marketing is really high there, because what that tells me is that the New York Times saw that they needed to sort of show their face a little bit more. They needed to show, they need to have that email come from somebody. And so I think this applies not only to email, but just, also more broadly. We need to show up in a way that is authentic. And how do we do that? We need to show our faces. We need to actually show people who we are. And that includes attaching names and faces and personalities and a point of view to all of our marketing assets.
I wanted, do you have any quick tips on getting people more comfortable with being on video? I mean, since this is making such a big impact, have you seen anything? I mean, I think, once you do a few and you feel, you get comfortable with it, it's pretty easy. But I think there's an initial sort of knee-jerk reaction to like, no, I don't want to be on video. Any advice you have on sort of encouraging people to be more positive about the video experience?
I just saw from Scott. Is my video connection not that great? Because I'm actually hardwired. Can you see me okay?
I see you. How's Ann look?
Okay. Blurry, really? Interesting.
It's coming in and out there. I think it's okay. Wait, bit blurry.
Bit blurry.
Uh-oh.
You can see Jason, but not me. Fuzzy potato. That's not good.
Move up. Maybe move a little closer. See what happens.
Should I? Wow, that's so weird. I wonder. Should I try to? Yeah, it's probably the aluminum from the tree, coming through and screwing with my.
So?
No, I'm kidding.
Oh, all right. Well, let's. We'll see. Hopefully, it'll get better. I think it's getting maybe a little bit better. We'll see. Let's jump in. Can we hear Ann okay? Everybody hear Ann okay?
Can you hear me okay? How's that?
All right. Perfect. There we go. So, Ann, any tips for getting people more comfortable on video?
Try to not show up blurry, because that's just ridiculous. No, let me think. I mean, I have listen, I have long said that I hate video. Like as a writer, especially as somebody who communicates much better through writing than anything else, it's like, it was a really difficult transition for me. I had to, honestly, just had to get over it. I had to just say, like, this is what it is. And also just embrace the power of video in terms of it allows you to speak directly to one person on the other side of the screen. One of the things that I've come to really appreciate about like webinar programs, for example, virtual programs, is the fact that, you know, I can hold up paper slides, I can hold up analog slides and, you know, have some fun with it. And the reason why that works in this situation is because it's just me in my tiny house office speaking to you wherever you happen to be. So it's much more one-to-one. And once I sort of adjusted my mindset around that, it felt less scary for me, because I thought, well, I'm just talking to one person at one time. How hard could that be? And it was just a mindset shift. So it's a combination of thinking about the power, the opportunity, the one-to-one thing, and then also just kind of getting over it a little bit.
Got it. And I think we need to nip this in the bud. You want to try to log out and log back in, and I'll hold the.
Yeah.
We got a couple things in. Can't hear Ann. A little bit blurry, but yeah, I'll keep them going for a minute here. I got plenty to riff on. I'll go through some comments here.
All right, I'll be right back.
Video tips. There was a good video tip in here. Where was it at? From Andrew. Mind the background, mind the lighting, watch recording of yourself to see your tics and habits. Oh, who doesn't love to watch recordings of themselves, right? I mean, but I would agree, Andrew, lighting is essential. I think getting the lighting correct. I've been working on my lighting here. I'm still not super happy with it, but I think it's doing okay. Let's go back to some other comments here. What else do we have? I'll give you a quick preview while Ann is coming up on resetting her connection. Hopefully she'll come back strong, clear. But we're going to be talking about, coming up next, Ann's going to talk about 7 principles that she thinks your marketing needs for 2020 and beyond. We're going to dive into my favorite part of the conversation today, which is called Champagne Taste on a Lemonade Budget, which is which brands in 2020 were punching above their weight. I have some of my favorite examples. Ann's brought some of her favorite examples. There's some really clever ones in here and some great lessons on figuring out how to leverage these tips for yourself. Then we're going to get into the importance of customer experience. We have some great stories here. A really funny example, probably one of my favorite examples of the year that Ann will talk about. And then we will touch on storytelling for a moment. Some great tips on storytelling. By the way, here's a question for everyone. Have we overcomplicated storytelling? Have we figured out that it is incredibly difficult to tell a very good story, and maybe we need to take a step back? Then we'll get into rapid fire hot or not segment, which we'll blast through. Some fun stuff on there. And then we'll get to your questions and ask Ann what she's hopeful for in the new year. So any questions in the meantime? Questions. Yes, that is a KISS poster. That is from the tour last year. That's the flaming lips back there. Ann's back. And survey says?
What are we thinking?
And ta-da! Look at that.
Yay!
Thank you all for bearing with us, and I'm glad we did that, Ann. You're crystal clear. There's absolutely no interference with the aluminum tree from 1967.
All right, that's really good to know. You know, I tried a different browser, so when all else fails, try Chrome.
All right. Well, this is stellar. This is perfect. This is all.
So could we not see this setup before? Could we not?
No, we could see it. It started off good, and then it kind of got funky, and then it got really funky.
Oh, all right. Okay. Strange.
All right. So,
right.
Ann, I think you were just about to talk about, give us a quick run through of 7 principles that you think our marketing needs in 2020 and beyond. Can you give us the cruise through?
Oh, yeah. I felt like that was a lot to talk about right now, but all right. If you I have a slide for this, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah, give us a quick cruise. We got a lot of content to go through, and I just ran through the agenda. So now we're committed to the agenda. So give us a quick through, and we'll move on to the next topic.
Thank you. The agenda, as we say in Boston. Okay, so 2020 marketing momentum, how to give your marketing some momentum. I can't get into all of these, but just run through them real quick. And if you want to ask me about one or two of them, maybe we can do that. First thing is camaraderie at scale. Thinking about that opportunity you have to connect with your audience on a more human, personal level, or personable level at the very least. Focusing on deepening existing relationships. I think in the midst of a pandemic and into 2021 is a great time to think about how do you serve your community more broadly. The third one is think about what short-term actions your customers or prospects need right now. And can you actually deliver on some of those things? Real quick example is at Marketingprofs. We, in April, we held a mindfulness for marketers course because we felt like that marketers were really stressed out by suddenly being at home and having to educate kids, on Zoom school and all that kind of thing. So what does your audience need more broadly behind maybe what it is that you sell in a way that will express how you are there for them long term? All of that short-term action that you take should map into long-term leadership in your industry. So I'm a big believer in having any short-term action mapped to a long-term leadership position. The fifth is an element of the unexpected. Need I say more? Jason is a case in point of the way that he marketed this webinar. It was just incredible, right? It was unexpected. That unboxing video of his holiday jumper yesterday, fantastic. Number 6, meaningful, manageable relevancy. So I think the more that you can express through your marketing, even in small ways, small interactions, carry a great meaning right now. And the 7th thing is, and we talked about this a little bit, is putting people. People need to be in your marketing front and center. Get them on video, highlight your customers, highlight your employees, tell their stories as a way to tell your story more broadly in marketing. So there you go.
Fantastic.
The seven. That's my
Can you hold that up? Can you
Sure.
hold that up for a second? I'm sure some folks want to get a screenshot of that. 1, 2, 3, screenshots done. Thank you, Ann. That was perfect. Let's jump into our next little topic here. I've already ran them through the agenda, as I mentioned, so we're committed to this. We're going to get through this. I call this one Champagne Taste on Eliminate Budget. Actually, my wife gave me that topic. But this is basically recapping our favorite brand examples of 2020 without going to the Nikes and the Red Bulls and the usual suspects. Let's talk about which brands are punching above their weight in an SMB factor. And one that I'll open up with that I found, and I know that you love as well, is Hyatt. I think it's Hyatt Denim, and they pulled me in because I'm all about creativity. The past 2 years I've been doing nothing but talking and writing about creativity. A user manual for creativity. I have it pulled up right here, a 45-page book.
Wow.
And I'm like, what the hell does this have to do with a denim jean company? And the more I dove in, the more I found out that this might be the most entertaining company that I've seen all year. And you're a fan of these folks, right?
Yeah. Here's my issue with them. I don't know how to pronounce that. How do you pronounce that? Is it Hyatt? Hyatt? Is it Hyatt? Like the hotel chain? What is that? What is it?
I found the tweet, and it said because they addressed this, and it said the gentleman's last name, the founder's last name plus utility, but then he says pronounced like utter. So I'm even more confused.
So is it hut? Like the U in utter? Hut? I don't know.
It sounds like you're getting ready to launch a football.
I can't.
All right.
I am a fan. Their newsletter is really fantastic too. I love, let's just call them HIUT. I love HIUT. I think they do a fantastic job with their marketing. They completely punch above their weight class. So yeah, 100%. I love what they do. My favorite is, I have a slide for this, folks, right?
Here we go.
Yeah, I did not draw this one though, because I need to show you the homepage. So look at the homepage. Can you see that right there? This is Currituck County Economic Development Agency. So I love sharing examples of companies that surprise me. And when I find something on an economic development agency website, I mean, that's just fantastic. And the reason why I love this so much is look at these 2 calls to action on the homepage, and hopefully you can actually see what they say. This one here says find property. So you want to do business in Currituck County, you want to look for property there. Or this other one says call Larry. See that other one there? Call Larry. It's an economic development agency homepage. I mean, this kills me. So what do you think that I did, Jason? I called Larry, and it turns out that Larry is a real guy. Larry is the executive director of the Currituck County Economic Development Agency. That's his photo right there. His face is on almost everything that they do. His personality is embedded in almost everything that the Currituck County Economic Development Agency does. And again, it's an economic development agency, but they take such a creative approach. And so when I called Larry and I asked him, like, why do you do this? And he said, because Larry said, people know what economic development agencies do, but he wanted to express the brand of Currituck County Economic Development Agency as kind of a folksy, accessible place. Larry said, and I have a slide for this too. Larry said, people know what you do. You have to sell them on who you are. And I just think that's really fantastic. And that's my drawing of Larry right there in his holiday tie. So that would be my vote for definitely doing some unexpected things, some personal things, or some personable things, all the things that I believe define marketing heading into 2021.
That reminds me of the call, was it Phone a Random Swede hotline? Do you remember that campaign?
No.
Where they actually had a hotline and it would just ring a random Swede and you could chat with them about visiting their country. and the other thing is the other thing that comes to mind is I was at where was I? I was in Stockholm, I think, for and I went to the ABBA museum, right? I'm traditionally a metal guy, but I like a good 70s pop disco song. Mm-hmm. And in the ABBA museum, there's a phone in the corner.
Sorry, Monica's asking. Go ahead, you talk.
Oh yeah. There's a phone in the corner, and every once in a while, a member of ABBA will dial that phone in, and if you pick it up, you can chat with them. I thought that just reminded me of something unexpected.
Oh wow, that's awesome. Yeah, that's great. No, I didn't know that.
The ABBA museum.
Maybe we should try to do a version of that. We should do like a dial a marketer situation where just dial a random marketer.
Everybody's abandoned the phone call. I think there's something there. There's something to go back to. And another example that came to me was sort of unexpected was the London Sock Company. I don't know if you know this group, but they're punching above their weight here in the UK. I'm a big fan of socks. I purchased some socks for them a while ago. Never really paid too much attention to it, but they sent me an email that said, Dear Jason Miller, we believe that little things make a difference. This is especially true when it comes to typos. In our last email, we accidentally pledged to donate 22 pairs of specially made warm socks to charity instead of 2. So, but they said for the rest of the month, we're gonna follow through with this. If you purchase a pair of socks, we will donate 22 pairs to those in need. And wow. I thought that was exceptional.
That's amazing. That's a great commitment. Yeah. That's fantastic. All right, my second favorite example is another government agency. And the reason I like highlighting government is because, again, it just feels like such a, not typically a category where you see a lot of innovation, but I'll tell you who's really killing it is the National Park Service. And what I love about their marketing throughout this year, honestly, is there's a few different things, but just one really fun example is, so what you're looking at here is the National Park Service Instagram. They're sharing home improvement palettes as a way to showcase beauty inside the parks. And why is this so relevant right now? It's because, we're all stuck in our homes, right? We're all looking at the projects that we need to be doing here. Home Depot and Lowe's in the US, like their sales are off the chart, right? Because since we're home, we might as well fix the place up. And so I like the way that the National Park Service inserted themselves into that conversation by showcasing just, some of the colors of the national park and presenting it as kind of a paint palette. So genius. Yeah, it's so great. Cool. Yeah, really love it.
What else you got in your arsenal there, Ann? Favorite examples of folks punching above their weight?
All right, my last one that I think I have to share with you is, I'm looking around at all my examples right now. Oh, I don't know, I got 2.
Yeah, bring them up. We got time. Bring both. Bring both.
All right.
All right.
All right, good. Well, somebody just mentioned in the comments here, because Yeah. Anyway, they were talking about the Morning Brew launching the Essentials newsletter throughout this pandemic as a way to give people access to just kind of a different kind of content. I like what Cleveland Clinic has done. Cleveland Clinic publishes an email called Health Essentials a few times a week, which is an email that gives health and wellness tips. But in the midst of this pandemic, they started a second newsletter that comes directly from their CEO, a guy by the name of Dr. Tomislav, and I cannot pronounce his last name, so I'm not going to try. But anyway, they publish it once a week from their CEO, and he talks about what it's like to like visit the hospital right now. And the reason why I like it so much is because it comes from the CEO, so it puts a voice and a personality to an institution. And at the same time, it's the way that it's written. It's very accessible. It's lots of I's and U's and we's, and it's basically walking that walk of we're in this together. I like the fact that it comes from the CEO. It doesn't come from Cleveland Clinic, and that it's written in a way that sounds like it's actually from a person. It's a great example, I think, of an institution humanizing itself. It doesn't matter that it's a hospital. I think there's almost any company can take that approach.
And just a quick question: do you think that SMBs and maybe entrepreneurs obviously have a little bit more freedom, but do you think they take more risks than the big corporate brands in your opinion? I mean, where do you find the balance between being sort of a rebel, sort of punk rock entrepreneur who can do anything and say anything, like like Cards Against Humanity? If you saw their Black Friday campaign, I couldn't even bring it here to share with you because it was
really
over the top. It was the most insane thing I've ever seen in my life.
I completely missed that. Usually they're on my radar, but I completely missed it this year.
I could not bring it here. It's so wow. It's beyond my punk rock attitude too. But
wow.
How do you find that balance between sort of corporate speak from the big brands and maybe that sort of rebellious nature to be more human and really actually just say what's on your mind? What's the balance there?
Yeah, I mean, I think that how far you're going to take it depends on your own brand. Like, think about a brand like Cards Against Humanity. Like, they're all about the bleeding edge and pushing it forward and that shock value. It's like that's embedded in who they are as a brand. So I think that this is true for any size company, but especially for smaller businesses. I think just start with showing up as yourself. In marketing, we talk a lot about being more authentic in marketing, but I think that really what that means is just show up and show your face and have your email feel like it actually, or not just your email, have your marketing feel like it comes from a real person, and that maybe try for personable versus anything more personal. Another one of my favorite examples of a smaller company who I think does this incredibly well is Baking Steel. So what Baking Steel does is they sell steel that you can bake on. It's pretty basic. They're basically square sheets of steel that they've manufactured to produce the best pizza crust outside of Naples, Italy. And so Anders Lagsson is the CEO and the founder of Baking Steel. If you look at the Anders Lagsson Instagram, he's on there, but it's not very interesting, right? But if you go to the Baking Steel Instagram, it has Anders's face and it's him doing it, but it's a whole lot more interesting because he is the face of the company. And so I think just tweaking the way that you show up, like just showing up and just being like all in on pizza or all in on socks or whatever it is that you do or whatever it is that you sell. I think that small businesses, for the most part, have a leg up on a lot of other on bigger companies. I don't know. What's your take on that, Jason?
I mean, I like to, I guess I would say like James Altucher says, like lots of tiny experiments, right?
Yeah.
And sort of and test lots of different messaging and see what really connects. But I mean, me, I like to push the boundaries. I like to have fun, but it's you obviously stay away from anything mean-spirited or politics or the obvious, right? But I think if you look at corporate speak versus you can if, as a marketer, maybe I'm a little bit biased, but I can see that corporate speak and it turns me off immediately many times when it's too formulaic, right? But That's just how I feel. And I want to get into customer experience, right? So ActiveCampaign, one of our biggest values is creating customer wow, right? Creating those moments where it goes beyond just customer satisfaction, but to where the customers are actually truly wowed by the experience. I know you have a great example I want you to talk about, and it's a fun story. Can you dive into that? And
Yeah.
the importance of customer experience and making sure that it is that wow moment.
Yeah. So talk about pandemic cliches, right? In the midst of the pandemic, I got a puppy because that's what we do now. But it wasn't exactly a cliche because I am a major dog person. I have owned dogs for almost my entire life. In April, I lost my dog Abby, who was just a fantastic, fantastic dog. She was just the love of my life. Her photo is right here behind, right there. So she's with me still. But all that to say, I was like, I'm never going to get another dog. But then, here I am home all the time, and I really missed having a little buddy, like having this little creature. So at the beginning of October, I got my little dog. His name is August, and so excited about this dog. And as my son says, it's like this dog is like the youngest child. Like he's getting everything that like all the other dogs never got. Like he's got custom coats, and he's got like little boots in case it gets snowy and his little paws might get a little bit cold, just like stuff like that. So as part of this, I got this dog tag, and it's a particular kind of dog tag that doesn't just like, you can go to like a pet store around here and just like get any old tag that'll just kind of jangle on your collar. But I was like, oh, no, nothing like that for this boy. And so I got a custom dog tag that literally just like is looped onto his collar. So it doesn't jangle. It's like a beautiful like matte finish. It's really nice. So all that to say, I order the tag. They do a really nice job with experience, even though it's a company that basically sells dog tags, right? So they do a really nice job with experience in the sense of letting me know, like keeping me posted the entire way about like, here's where your dog tag is, what a lovely choice, like all that kind of stuff that I love, like as a consumer and as a marketer, I really love that kind of thing. So then it comes in a beautiful box, it arrives, I'm so excited about it, I open it up, and in it is this card. This card is a handwritten card by this woman named Nanette. And on it, it says like where she was raised in Conway, Pennsylvania. First concert she ever went to was Journey, her celebrity crush, Mark Wahlberg and Katy Perry. Okay. So it's like fantastic. And then there's a handwritten note on the back from Nanette, and you can tell it's handwritten because there's like some smudges, and she made some mistakes on it. I was like, this is so fantastic. Again, as a consumer, as a dog lover, and as a marketer, I was like, this is off the hook. I love this so much. I love it so much that I look at the fine print on the bottom, and right down here, it says, Nanette does good work, huh? She does. Drop her a line, let her know she could use a good pen pal like you, and then it has her email address. It's Nanette @ and I was like, this is fantastic. Like, I just love this so much. I was already imagining myself once we were back, getting together again, like I'm going to tell this story on stage. And I was like thinking I could have a moment where maybe the dog could walk out. That could be like a really, maybe Nanette is there. Maybe I pull her up on stage. Like I really started to get down that path. And so then I do a quick search on social media first. And I find out that like this note is actually like all these mistakes. Everybody got the exact same note. This is just a really, really good printing job. It's not actually handwritten. Yeah, but that's okay. Like, that's all right. That's fine. I was like, it's still cool. Like, I still really like it. And I like the fact that they created this. But then I thought, I'm just going to like let Nanette know. So I drop Nanette an email. I'm like, hey, Nanette, like, I love this so much. Like, I obsessed over which dog tag to get. And you really made me like get excited about my choice. And I'm just like, it's really like, I love so much about this experience. Thank you so much. And then what do you think happened, Jason?
She obviously never responded to you.
No, she didn't. You know why? Because I don't think Nanette works there anymore. So that was very, very disappointing. No, not a bounce. That would have been really horrific. But
Did she ever work there?
I don't know. I did hear from somebody else that said to me that it was her day off. Okay. And then, so I tried again because now I'm like obsessed. Also, I'm just a major marketing nerd, right? And so now I really want to find out. I want to get to the bottom of this. So I just like, I try again, I write Nanette again, different email address, and the same thing. It's like, oh, Nanette today's her day off. And I was like, does this woman ever work? Do you even exist, Nanette?
Maybe Journey was in town doing a residency.
I don't know. Anyway, here's the thing. I think the bigger lesson for all of us as marketers in this room is that if you're going to do something cool like this, and I really love it, I really think it's great. Where they fell down was, don't invite me to engage if you're not going to be able to support that. Like, I'm pretty sure that hardly anybody would actually reach out to Nanette unless you're a weirdo like me, right? But if you're going to do something like that, make sure that you have the systems in place to follow through. Number one. And also, though, this is like, it's kind of gratuitous. Like, I don't think they needed that, so really thinking it through from the customer standpoint, what's the most important thing? The fact that I had this moment when I opened it, that was probably enough. And maybe the call to action didn't have to be email Nanette. It could have been something else. Like, maybe I want to sign up for a dog newsletter. I mean, I don't know, like anything, but just
I'm a little concerned for Nanette's well-being. I mean, this is turning into an episode of Marketing Unsolved Mysteries, Ann. So hopefully Nanette's she's fine. She probably doesn't exist, but what a hell of a campaign.
I think he actually raises a good point, though, that everybody should be Nanette. Like, honestly, they could have just had a dummy address set up, and that would have been enough for me, just to maybe get an email back from Nanette, right, saying, thanks so much, I'm glad you enjoy your dog tag, end of story. Could have been enough. So
it's interesting because I'm a sucker for Instagram ads, a really good Instagram ad. I buy stuff from SMBs all the time, and someone sent me, they actually some energy drinks or something I ordered, and they sent me a lovely handwritten note. But I read it and I set it aside, but they never followed up with me. So the last 5 purchases I've made, no one's followed up with me. And sometimes I forget where I even ordered this stuff from because I get it from Instagram and it's gone. So there's something about just following up. I wonder why that's so difficult. And someone said, you need ActiveCampaign automations. Thank you for that plug. By the way, the chat here, there's a tremendous amount of value in this chat. Thank you, everyone, for sharing your examples. We're going to print this out and scan through this later, but there's some great comedy happening here, too. Matt Hines is on fire today. I'll tell you that.
No, but I think you're right. It's just like those, I guess what disappointed me as a marketer is that to take me that far on the journey and then to have it just fall apart at the end, it was just so disappointing. And so, yeah, I mean, I think just thinking through it from a customer standpoint and thinking through those touch points, there are going to be those people who are going to reach out to Nanette. It's asking me in bold type to actually email her and be her pen pal. Pen pal is like my love language. So anyway.
By the way, please, we're going to be taking questions in just a few minutes. We have a couple more topics hopefully we'll get through before the speed round. We have, and the hashtag I forgot to mention is AC Yule-Log. AC Yule-Log. So I probably should mention that at the beginning. I always forget the hashtag thing. I'm more about being in the moment here. So so we have 2 topics. I think we only have time for one. We have 2 topics left. We're going to take a little vote in the comments. We're going to touch on a bit on storytelling, or we're going to touch on creativity. What do you guys want? We'll take the next 3: creativity, story, creativity, whatever is next. Creativity wins. It's creativity for the win. And you and I were chatting about this over Instagram message, and it turned into something. I was like, I just need to screenshot this and put this. This is a new interview series, like Instagram chats with influencers or whatnot. Talk about. So, and I want to set this up because I think it's been interesting. So the last, since my time at Marketo to LinkedIn to Microsoft to ActiveCampaign, I've sort of seen the marketing automation revolution. I've seen the big data revolution. I've seen all these things, and it seems like branding and creativity always kind of took a back seat to this. But now that we're working on trust and connecting and making that emotional connection, branding is top of the list for building trust. But creativity is coming back because we need emotional connection. What's your thought on the importance of creativity? And how can we be more creative, in your opinion?
Yeah, I mean, I think yeah, I love what you just said there, because I do think that, the branding is suddenly at the forefront for the reasons that you mentioned, and creativity too, I think is so key. My take on creativity, and I guess how I think about it, is that my brain always wants to give me the lamest path, right? So no matter what I'm doing, whether it's writing an email, whether it's writing an Instagram caption, whether it's applying anything that I do, or any way that I mean, even when I'm putting together like this fantastic backdrop, right? My brain always wants to take the easiest path, the easy way out. And so I think I need to actively nurture a creativity, to not let myself do that, to actually push myself a little further and think, is there a better way for me to do this? Is there a better approach? And so it's creativity to me becomes like a practice, and not to get like, too high-minded about it, but it's something that I intentionally have to think about, almost, every day, with everything that I do, with everything that I produce or create. And so I think the practice is just asking yourself that one question of, is this truly the best way to do this, or is this the easiest way to do it, or is it a way to do it? And is it truly reflective of who I am in the world? Like, is this how I want to show up? And very often when I just push myself a little bit further, that's when I can get into a really interesting space. The flip side to that is that, and I guess this actually plays into what you're talking about too, is that there's something scary about creativity, because creativity to me is also doing the thing that's not proven, right? You're just not sure. And so I don't know all the time that what I'm doing is actually going to, I don't know how it's going to come across. I don't know how people are going to react to it. I don't know whether people are going to think it's creatively awesome or just like creatively awful, And so I think letting yourself stay in that place and not being sure of how it is that how it's going to play, I think that's what makes creativity interesting to me. And that's what makes life interesting, honestly. Like, I don't know, like you could all be thinking like this whole, like, I thought this was hilarious, my whole like roasted weenie, but I thought that's really funny, but maybe some of you are like, that's ridiculous, and Ann Handley is completely insane. Like, I don't know, I have to run that risk, So yeah, I like what Erica says there. I do think that creativity is risk-taking.
I love what you said there, and I would double down on, don't celebrate mediocrity. Don't just check the boxes to push something out the door. Think about it. It's not always easy. Being creative is not always easy, but it certainly is fun once you find an approach that works. We can't mention creativity without talking about TikTok. Gotta play TikTok. You share with me probably the most. I'm getting chills. Even CC Chapman tweeted me back when I shared it out. Like the coolest TikTok. Most feel-good TikTok I've seen in 2020. Can you tell me about that one?
Yeah. So, Jason and I were riffing on, what we're going to talk about in this conversation today. And, we didn't say TikTok, but when we started talking about creativity, I feel like TikTok is the place where I see the most creativity of almost anything that I see online. So I am rarely blown away or impressed or just inspired by, marketing content. But when I see, that's a blanket statement. Sometimes I am. But when I see on TikTok, like, it's just consistently, it's like, I'm just so impressed with how people are creating there. And so when I'm feeling like really kind of like not inspired, or sort of, just don't feel like I have much to give, just going on TikTok for me, it's like a shot of espresso. It's just like, feels like amazing. And so that's exactly what happened. And what I saw on there was this Instagram account from the Daughters of St. Mary, I believe or St. Paul, Daughters of St. Paul. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Is that what it is? I was like, is it St. Peter or is it St. Paul? Anyway, one of them. And
St. Paul.
St. Paul. I should really know my Catholic saints a little bit better. But anyway, so it's an account run by an order of nuns, and the way that they are showing up on Instagram and the kind of just creativity that they put into that account, it's so fantastic. Like, nuns in TikTok is not at all an obvious fit, but their account is just off the charts. It's just fantastic, and I love it so much.
And there's your storytelling angle too. So we touched on storytelling. So get some inspiration on quick little storytelling lessons of TikTok. And I want to get to some questions. Please get your questions into the chat box as we go through a rapid fire. And you just have to say hot or not. That's all that's the only response we're going to take today. Hot or not. We're going to jump in the new normal.
Not.
Customer centric.
Hot.
Hot. Yes. Baking bread.
Sure. Hot.
Queen's Gambit.
Oh man, hot. The best.
That is genius.
Oh,
it is
so
genius.
good. Oh yeah, just like the visual storytelling of that show, amazing. If you haven't seen it, I highly encourage it. Just so great.
Fleets.
No, not. No one
Reels.
asked. No one asked for it. No. Also, no.
All right, Hallmark Christmas movies, and I have to say Dean Cain versus Thomas C. Howell. C. Thomas Howell.
Totally hot. Totally.
I got two more for you. One Stop Shop.
Oh, in what context?
Here's your one-stop shop for everything.
No, not. That's a hard pass.
Declaring something's dead. Email's
no,
dead.
I hate that. No, that's a hard no. Hard not.
You know, there's that classic story, I think it was 2006, when the New York Times, I think it was, declared email marketing was dead, and they delivered the message via email.
Yeah.
All right, let's see if we have any questions in. Do we have any questions? Let's look for questions. Do we have questions?
All right, while you're doing that, while you're looking at questions, can I just share another example when we talked about brands that were some of the best campaigns of 2020, or some of the programs that we thought were really fantastic. We talked about Crescent County, and I talked about the National Park Service. But one of my favorites was what the Getty Museum did. Did you see how the Getty invited anyone who follows them on social to recreate their works of art with just things that they found around their homes? You know, their museum is shut down, right? You can't access the collections there. And so they put this thing on social. You know, I have a sheet for this. We challenge you to create a work of art with objects or people found around your house. And I got to share my most favorite thing. So many people, tens of thousands of people did it. So this one person recreated this still life with fish, vegetables, and cruets as still life with canned tuna and Trader Joe's.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Isn't that so great? This is tough to see. This one's tough to see. But yeah, really fantastic. Isn't that awesome? Still life with canned tuna and Trader Joe's. Some guy on Twitter. Fun. Still fun. Anyway.
And the questions are coming in hot. Okay. What are your top budget priorities for 2021? That's a tough one. I don't really know how to answer that one. What was the story? What was the show to watch with great storytelling? I think that was TikTok.
TikTok.
Here's one.
Queen's Gambit. Is that what you were thinking? Queen's Gambit.
Could be. Ann, is Ann bringing out another book anytime soon? Weren't you redoing content rules?
Oh man, yes. We talked about redoing content rules. I don't think that's going to happen. I might do a second edition of Everybody Writes, or I might do a brand new book that I've been thinking about writing for a long time, and I just need to sort of get it out of my head. So yes, I will. Why don't I just say it right here? Like in 2021, I'll have a book. Let me just. Yeah. That's good. That's good.
You heard it here first.
It's nice for me to. It's nice for me to put it out there in the world. So.
Hey, here's an interesting one from Fabiana, I believe it is. Any tips for introverts to personalize brands?
Oh,
I think that might be. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh yeah, Orthodox is another really good show. Yeah, I really like that one. I wish it was. Sorry, I just got distracted by the comments. It is a mini series. It's only like a few episodes. Have you seen that, Jason, at all? Unorthodox.
Which one?
Unorthodox.
I have not. No, I'm right in the middle of like a heavy metal marathon documentary on Journey.
Yeah, me too. No, sorry. All right, introverts. Sorry, I just got completely distracted. Say that again. Tips for introverts in terms of showing your personality through your content? Was that basically the question?
I think it said personalizing brand. Yeah.
Oh, personalizing brands. That's funny. I don't think of it as necessarily an introvert versus extrovert exercise.
Yeah, I think there's.
Yeah.
I think Brian Fanzo is a great example. He's the craziest guy on video, but he's a little bit. Is he extrovert?
I would say he is an extrovert. Yeah, I mean, it just relates to how you get your energy, right? If you get your, like,
Yeah.
I'm an extrovert because I get my energy from, you know, just being alone, like being by myself. But I love being around people. So I guess I am that ambivert, right? Where I can play an extrovert, and I do enjoy it. But at the same time, this is like, I need to spend a lot of time alone just to sort of fill myself up. I don't know. I guess what I'm saying is my advice for both introverts and extroverts in terms of thinking about your marketing and how you approach your marketing. And actually, I saw somebody mention it here too. Janice mentions here, you know, talking to one person at a time. You know, I think that when we were talking about this situation here, like just in terms of how you show up for video, you know, just thinking about that one person you're trying to help. It's the way that I write my email newsletter that goes out every other Sunday, right? I think about one person because I can't think about 40,000 people on the list. I have to think about one person. Otherwise, two things happen. First of all, it's just paralyzing to think that you're going to be talking to that many people at the same time. But the second thing is it makes me sound like a marketer. Like I sound very like corporate-y, you know, and so I need to make my voice more loose, my writing voice more loose and more authentic to me and more interesting. I need to just think about one person at one time. And so I think that's the advice that I give to, you know, both introverts and extroverts. I guess I don't think about it as an introvert extrovert thing. So it sounds like maybe if you're feeling a little fear around that, that's actually a good thing. Sometimes when I have felt fear about something, that's the creative edge right there, like we were talking about a few minutes ago.
Excellent advice. And how often are you using that typewriter on your desk? And was it refurbished?
Oh, this one here. Yeah, this is one that I actually use. I have a few more in the house. This one I just needs to be repaired because something fell on it. But yeah, I'm a massive typewriter fan. It's a way actually of me to to kickstart my creativity or kickstart my writing. Sometimes I feel a little paralyzed by a computer, and I like to write a first draft on a typewriter because I find for two reasons. First, because it's completely different. Like it just switches the way you can communicate. You can't go back and erase anything, and so it forces you into this forward momentum, which I find really valuable for first drafts. That's one reason. The second reason why I really like using a typewriter for a first draft is because the sound. It's like this is like sort of funny, but I think of it as like a small cheer every time I hit a letter, and it's like the typewriter is like makes a noise, and I think of it as like yay, you're doing it, you know. So it just. I think it's really a valuable way to do a first draft when I'm stuck in, you know, with writing. I always will go to a typewriter. It's just a lot of fun.
And I want to take one more really quick, but we're running out of time. There's lots of questions and lots of mentions about your newsletter. There's a question that came in your most recent newsletter. You said you had nothing when you sat down to write it. Is that true? And what's the process there? How do you crank that out and make it so meaningful and interesting?
Yeah, so it absolutely was true. I talked about, I think that was a story about my dog, right? My new dog in the backyard. I didn't have anything to sit down to write. And so what I will do in those situations, in addition to turning to a typewriter, which I actually did in that situation, I will, so I keep a daily journal. I start them every morning writing in a diary, just not talking about my feelings or that kind of stuff, like a more cliched approach to a diary journal. But I record stories that I heard the previous day, things that made me laugh, things that just made me a little confused, like things that happened the previous day in a kind of story format, you know, so I'll just make some notes about that. So when I get stuck, I will literally just open up that journal and I'll go back. And sometimes I've had to go back a few journals to actually get to something that I think is inspiring to me to write about. And so, yeah, that's typically what happened. And I did write about that happening with the dog just that morning, because what happened is that he went into the backyard to do his business. Instead of just turning around and coming back, he found a little creature in the backyard. And it was just kind of a disaster from there. But so I wrote about that. And so that's how I do it.
Awesome. And if you don't have Ann's newsletter, Total Anarchy, it is a must-read. It's just chock full of great stuff. And last question for you. I know we're over time. What are you hopeful for in the new year?
Oh man, I'm hopeful that that we can see each other in person again. I mean, I am an introvert. I'm a homebody. I love being at home and I love being in my tiny house office, but I also really miss people. And I miss just being out in the world and talking to people and the inspiration that I get from that. And I miss all of you. Like, I really hope that we get to see each other in the new year in 2021.
What a perfect way to close it out.
Yeah.
And thank you so much for your time. Thank you all for attending. This is recorded, of course. We'll send it out to you. Sorry we didn't get to all the questions, but we will certainly. I'll pick some ones and try to follow up via on a blog or whatnot. But Ann, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Anything else
It's so much fun. What's that?
Happy holidays, Merry Christmas.
Yeah, happy holidays to you too. Enjoy. Thank you everyone for being here today, and reach out to me too if I can be of any help to you.
Awesome. Thank you, Ann. You're such an inspiration. Fantastic stories. So much fun today. Thank you. And
Thank you.
Love that sweater. Thanks, everyone. Cheers.
Bye.